I wanted to go over some of the biggest Premier League flop signings of all time. So I thought we'd come with a top three each. I've got a couple of honourable mentions as well. Does anyone want to boot it off?
Go for it, Danny.
I'll go for one. For me personally, the first person that came to my head was Falcao, Radamel Falcao.
Wow.
He was
Falcao,
on the toppest, he was on the biggest stage at Atletico Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Best striker in the world at the time, and that was during
It was a key period, especially in Spanish football as well.
I think I read up upon it as well. It's because Atletico at the time they had to sell all the star players because they were having financial problems. But he came to United and he was diabolical. His Premier League record, goal scoring record, was like 5 and 37.
Wow.
It even came on loan to Chelsea.
I remember
people
that.
forget that.
No, I remember it just.
It was that bad.
That's pretty, Falcao, I mean, there's a good few Man United ones, and I think one for me to go off from there is probably a really big one, Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal to Man United.
Definitely.
It was an interesting move anyway because of how good he was at Arsenal and in the top flight. Obviously similar positions at the time, battling for the same kind of position, top four. I think I've got here, he played 45 games in total, scored 5 goals and got 9 assists.
Yeah, that's pretty atrocious.
45, but I think I read online as well that at Arsenal he got 125 in 140. Like goals and assists in games.
Yeah, combined.
Which is insane. It was weird because it was Sanchez and was it Mkhitaryan as a swap deal.
Yeah.
And they were both doing amazing at the club they were at. And then when they swapped, they just...
Yeah, they flopped. Sanchez, I forgot about him completely, to be honest, when I was putting this list together. But do you remember that intro video that Man United did?
Like playing the piano.
Yeah, that was mental. Because I remember at the time thinking, oh my God, they're going to absolutely smoke it next year with Alexis Sanchez. And you had him there playing the piano, and then he just did fuck all. Did he ever do out when he went anywhere else? He went to Roma, didn't he, for a little while?
I didn't hear anything.
No, he went to Inter Milan, didn't he?
Inter Milan, right,
yeah.
But no, I've not heard much more about him from that point.
I think after that he went to Marseille as well for a short stint.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure where he is currently. So.
No.
If he's playing at all, I'm sure he went back to Winter as well after having a brief hiatus elsewhere. I think he did kind of go back to Inter Milan, but he might still currently be there. But he won't be. He'll just be on the outskirts. He won't.
Yeah, if he was doing well, we'd have heard about it for sure.
Yeah, especially with Inter Milan getting to the Champions League final last year. We'd have known about it if he were playing realistically.
So from Alexis Sanchez, a player leaving Arsenal, my first shout is a player that joined Arsenal probably not too long after, and that's Nicolas Pepe. So I was a little bit surprised by this one when I looked into it because his stats weren't as bad as I thought they were.
I think it wasn't an amazing signing. I think it was a good player. I don't think he was necessarily a flop.
But at the time, I think he was, because at the time he was either first or second in terms of the most expensive signing in Premier League history, and then he left at just 28 years old on a free transfer. So they signed him for like 80 million and he got 20 goals and assists in over 100 games and then left on a completely free transfer. I think in terms of like club business. And when he was at Arsenal, he never set the world alight. Like he got a couple of goals and assists, but can you remember one key moment where he scored a big goal?
Or even a run of form.
Yeah, or actually did well consistently.
I'm pretty sure he get quite a few free kicks. That's to the best of my knowledge. But as a player, he was, quite techy. Just not...
It kind of reminds me of like what we're seeing from Anthony at Man United at the minute, though. Like he had a bit of pace, he has a bit of skill. Every now and then he'll beat a man, and he might get the odd goal or assist. But no one's ever putting him in that top echelon of wingers. Which, when you're paying 80 million, he should be in that conversation of one of the best in the league or the world.
Yeah,
and he never got put in there, and then they didn't make a penny back on him.
No, that's one of the key factors in it, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Who's your second out of the biggest Premier League flop players of all time?
Quite a random one, David Bentley.
David Bentley. I don't even know enough about him.
He was meant to be the next. I think they were calling him the next David Beckham. Obviously, it makes sense. But he was at Birmingham. He was unreal. I remember his most iconic goal was like probably pretty much where the ball is there, just like 40 yards out. Hit top bins. Then he got his breakthrough move, and he just to Spurs, and then
that sounds about right.
Diabolical.
Just never did anything.
Never did anything.
Was it an expensive move for the time, or?
I think for the time it was, but there was so much in terms of expectations for how he would carry England forward. Just didn't live up to the hype.
So he had like a lot built up around him, and then did fuck all.
Yeah.
I don't even really know who that man is.
No, it does ring a bell. And when you mentioned Spurs, that kind of clicked in my head. But no, you obviously know more about that than I do.
What have you got, Ellis?
I've got one. I mean, when you look at it statistically, it's not he didn't do that bad, but I think in terms of the expectation and the price tag at the time when he come over, there was like a big amount of expectation on him, and that's Fernando Torres going from Liverpool to Chelsea.
Right, yeah.
I think that's very controversial.
I think that's controversial.
Just based on what he
Champions
achieved in the
League.
Champions League. I know it's a Premier League flop. Outside of that, though.
But
he
I
did
just
do
think
well.
Liverpool Torres used to
Yeah,
strike
that's true.
fear into defenders, whereas I think Chelsea he did decent. Like I've got here, he played 172 games, which is more than I thought he did.
Yeah, that's quite
He
a
got
lot.
45 goals and 35 assists. In 142 games for Liverpool, though, I didn't put the goals down, but he got 20 assists. So, so he looked like. Do you know what I was going to say with that is like as he got older, he might have been maybe not bursting the line and maybe dropping back, holding up play and getting more assists like as he did for Chelsea. So that was just something that I thought. But I just always think I remember growing up and I always remember watching
Him and Gerrard.
combining
insane.
when Man United lost 4-1 at Old Trafford.
Yeah, he made Vidic's dog every single time they played.
Every time they played, he played against Vidic, and I regard Vidic as one of the best centre halves we've had in the Premier League in the Premier League period, and
Top three
he used to put him on toast.
Yeah, I feel like Chelsea. I mean, that is a fair point. I agree. Torres didn't do anywhere near as well. He still did. Obviously, there's that iconic Champions League moment, but maybe it's a bit similar to Havertz, where you've got that really good memory. But apart from that,
that is parallel.
apart from that, what else did he actually do? But I'm going to go in with another one of my flops, and that is actually a former Chelsea goalkeeper in Kepa. I would try to say his second name, Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Arrizabalaga.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, spot on.
I found one of the most interesting things about this is Kepa was signed for Chelsea to replace Courtois, and now he's the backup for Courtois at Real Madrid, which is mental. It's like the biggest 360 in the world, but obviously everyone remembers that iconic FA Cup strop when he refused to leave the pitch.
Was it?
Sorry,
yeah.
Yeah, Willie Caballero was putting his gloves on, ready to come on the pitch, and
Sarri was losing his fucking mind, saying you got to get off the pitch. And I think as a fan of a club, if I saw one of my players doing that, I wouldn't want him to play again. You've got to respect the manager.
No player is above the manager.
No, not all.
Oh.
And he cost Chelsea 75 million.
Yeah, that was
It's a big
insane
price tag.
For
For a keeper as well,
for a
it's a big
goalkeeper.
price tag.
And then you had to spend how much on Mendy? About 40 million to replace him.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was probably one of the best signings we've had in recent history because he literally dragged us as well into that
He
Champions
was amazing, wasn't he?
Brilliant.
What happened with him?
I know he dropped off.
Yeah, no, that one season that we had was excellent, especially in the Champions League. And then we did Club World Cup and then
Oh yeah, of course.
the Super Cup. And then the season afterwards, he just
Went-
Papadumris.
yeah, it went to shit, didn't it?
I don't know what happened.
Papadumris, I've never heard that one before.
Have you not?
No, I've not.
It's basically.
But
what
yeah,
happened.
I think Kepa, again, not going to get any money back for him, was awful for the club, had to sign effectively 2 replacements because there's another keeper in now while he was still there. So I think that's a massive flop. He was the most expensive keeper in history at the time, and he did fuck all.
Is he st- he
I
still
think he
is,
still
isn't he?
might be, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's funny as well because at Real Madrid right now he's doing very well, and I'm seeing all the fans do love him. I do hope on that basis that Florentino Perez does buy him,
Yeah.
at least for a good amount.
I mean, there won't be long left on his contract now, though, I wouldn't imagine. So
Tried
Probably not,
tried to make a bit of coin back off it.
No, but Sanchez, I think for 25 million is great value.
Yeah.
Saying that he's Premier League proven, I don't understand why as well. De Zerbi put Jason Steele ahead of Sanchez because Sanchez is far better than.
maybe there's a bit of a fallout in the dressing
You
room.
never know, do you?
but
Just
I'll be honest.
some match stats so far. So we're 17 minutes in. Chelsea have had 4 shots, 1 on target. Obviously the penalty that went in, but Arsenal haven't had a single shot yet. So that really proves it really has been all Chelsea for the first practically 20 minutes now.
Biggest team in London.
Whoa. I'm not even getting into that. It's clearly false allegations. But
You're trying to beat the allegations here.
Danny, have you got another Premier League flop signing for us?
I do. I'm gonna go for a Chelsea one as well. Andrei Shevchenko.
He was a flop. Was
For me
he?
personally, so he won the Ballon d'Or in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
He came to Chelsea in 2006. And I read online with inflation taken into account, what it'd be worth now would be like 200 million plus. He got 22 goals in 77 games. For a Ballon d'Or winner, that's not good enough.
Well, I suppose at the level he was at, it'd be like when Ibrahimovic came to the Premier. Well, no, if he'd have come more in his prime, like he must have been the best number 9 in the world at that point.
Shevchenko,
Yeah. So he got 22 goals in 77 games.
Yeah.
It's not amazing.
It's not good. It's not good enough for a guy that won the Ballon d'Or 2 years before.
Yeah.
I would consider that a flop as well.
I'm pretty sure as well when Ibra came to the Premier League,
He was
did he, not,
yeah,
he,
he
didn't
was.
he get like 18 goals in the first season?
And he was old.
Yeah, exactly. Way past his prime. But yeah, Shevchenko for me, I know we've got like a number 9 curse, it's like Renan, but as a Ballon d'Or winner, surely you can just do that anywhere.
Yeah, you would think so. Or you'd hope so at least. But I thought he always did okay, to be fair. Where did he go after Chelsea?
He went straight back to Dynamo Kiev, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, so it was kind of him winding down at that point.
He kind of just wanted to go back to the homeland.
Yeah.
Go back to the homeland.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting one, you know.
And
It's
I
not
like
one
that
I'd have
shout.
thought of. What you got, Ellis? You got another one?
I've got one, and it's obviously it's just an obvious one because he came up through the ranks, got shipped off to Italy, and
I
then
knew
came
you
back
were gonna say
for a massive fee of like 89 million great British smackers. Paul Poggins.
97.5.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just
Paul Pogba?
Paul Pogba. And the thing is,
I thought you were going to say
Ooh.
Ronaldo Lukaku.
Arsenal just had a decent chance there with
That's
Declan
there.
Rice. Nearly went in the back of the
do
net.
you know what it is? Now I'm looking back on what I said, then, yeah? Do you,
That makes more. I thought it was
I
about
thought he was
Lukaku.
going to say Lukaku for a minute.
no, but Lukaku didn't come up through the ranks of Man United. Pogba did, didn't he?
Yeah.
So with Pogba, at the end of the day, Man United, ever since Fergie's gone, they've been such an up and down club. Like, when I say up, for their standard, it's not really up, but I just mean
Mourinho did well for them.
they've not been like a force to be reckoned with like they used to. So
Oh,
the
that
rest
no
of the
one
team-
fears Manchester United like
not
they
like
used
they
to.
used to. You've got teams in the lower half of the table that come to Old Trafford and believe that they can get a result now, whereas back then when Ferguson was in charge, teams used to come to Old Trafford and they used to be how teams are when they go to the Etihad now. And that's just kind of how it's said.
Like you kind of accept that you wouldn't get a result.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So I'm basically £89 million for Paul Pogba, and he just, for me, he shows glimpses of his brilliance, and I just think he lacked
Very
consistency.
inconsistent, Yeah,
If he had a little bit more consistency, he would be one of the greatest.
it's a good tackle.
Good battling on the edge of the box. He would definitely be one of the greatest in that respect.
oh, yeah, if he was consistently at the level that you saw once every 10 games, he'd have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
233 games, 55 assists for a man who should pride himself on setting up goals with a long range of passing and being able to pick an incisive pass is just, to me,
I think that the thing is, though, that's like what we were saying. That I don't think that stat in itself is awful. It's more so the fact, but it was always in set periods. Like he'd have like a
Yeah,
couple
you
good
could
games
see
and then
him.
be shit.
No, but see, the thing is, you look at when you did watch him play and you looked at how he like conducted himself on a pitch. 55 is not that bad, but someone like him, look at KD. I know KDB is a different level, but there was times when people
Yeah,
used
they
to
were
comparing him.
Well,
to
to be,
each other.
I bet did he cost more than KDB did
No,
for Man City?
KDB was like below 60.
Yeah,
Exactly. So he cost more money. So when we say it's not that bad a start, it kind of goes back to my Pepe one. It's not awful, but when you're costing that much and there's that much expectation around you, when you look back at him as a player in the Premier League, he's never going to be even talked about in the top 20 in his position.
You've got to take into consideration the price as well, to an extent, but that's not the player's own fault.
He
but
was worth at the time as well. That's the thing.
He was,
at Juventus. He was unreal.
I always remember that goal where there was like a fan cam behind the goal.
Trivela.
And yeah, the Trivela.
It
straight
wasn't
top
even a
left in.
Trivela. I think he hit it just so well that he actually just curved like
It
that.
had a natural swaz.
Right, well, I don't have any more full-on shouts for my biggest flops, but I do have a couple of honourable mentions.
Yeah.
And I think the first one is
Respect
one that I bet you boys would have put in your honourable mentions if you don't have any, and it's Andy Carroll to Liverpool.
Oh,
I was
wow, yeah.
thinking him. Honestly, it was such a weird signing for 35 million at the time.
Didn't Suarez come as a part of the, well, not part of the deal, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
a lot less.
But at the time, it was a British record transfer fee, and he'd absolutely smashed it at Newcastle, and then just went to Liverpool and fully flopped. He was the best English striker in the league the season before. He scored more goals than any other English striker, and then just went and did naff all.
Terrible, man.
Arsenal have been on the attack a little bit more here. And then I've got two more honourable mentions. The next one is a player who's actually on the pitch now, and it's Cucurella.
Oh,
So I know that's a bit of a rogue one, but he was literally the best fullback in the league, or the best left back in the league for a season
Yeah,
at Brighton. Cost between 50 and 55 million for Chelsea, and I don't think he's ever had a consistent run of form. He's not good attacking, he's not good at defending, he's just on the pitch and no one likes him.
yeah.
I can't even argue that, to be honest. To be fair, the last game that he played at right back, he was actually pretty good.
But he's never been consistently good.
No, I don't get what it is with Brighton. It's like the players, when they're all there, they're amazing. Once they disperse, they're iffy, a little bit iffy. Except Caicedo, I see him coming through.
Yeah, well, it's
Cucurella
still really
shit, though.
early days for him, isn't it? But with Cucurella, I mean, there was games where he was just dropping to the bench. Yeah, he was struggling to get a foothold of the game. Like at Brighton, we were watching him. I remember having him in fantasy 24/7.
Yeah, he was
just
class.
He was cooking, bro. He literally was. And
You got any honourable mentions, boys?
I mean, I did have one more main one that Danny thought I'd said before. Have we already gone over Lukaku when we come back to Chelsea the second time around? And I always remember the first game he come back, they played Arsenal at the Emirates, and he got a brace, didn't he?
It was class.
And then everybody was saying this is complete the Chelsea team. They've got a guy who can score. He started really well. And I think on that second stint, I don't know if this is the second stint, I think 59 games, 15 goals, 3 assists.
You know what? He should have had the game winner in was it the Carabao Cup against Liverpool? Where are you going?
Sus from
Liverpool, yeah.
Yeah. On ball. Go on, give us it, please.
Arsenal with the ball on the edge of the box, but Chelsea
down.
fumble it around and win it back.
Get rid of it there.
But yeah, Lukaku at Manchester United did okay.
Stats wise were a lot better.
And then at Chelsea, he was
a big boy there. So
I think the thing with Lukaku, and he's done this a few times as well. Like, he seems to be a really intelligent person. Like, he knows loads of languages. He's really smart. But he says the dumbest stuff when it comes to football.
Yeah. You know about the interview with saying he wants to be at Inter Milan as soon as he just joined Chelsea.
Yeah.
And he was begging them, and then he went on loan there, and then he was terrible. So then he came back to us, and then
didn't he do another interview saying he doesn't want to go to Inter Milan ever again, despite the fact they were about to sign him?
And then he tried to
Arsenal with the ball in the box.
Good chance, Jesus.
He tried to get signed for Juventus.
Yeah.
And then all the fans were outside the Inter Milan stadium, just like rioting, basically, do not sign him. Do not sign him.
I mean, it serves him right. And the thing is, he's not been consistently good ever. Like, obviously, was it at West Brom and at Everton?
To be fair, at West Brom and Everton, he was class.
He was great there, but that's at that lower end of the Premier League. Do you know what? I'd really love it if he came to like a Crystal Palace or something and just smoked the league for a season. That'd be class. But
what you're talking about him doing well at West Brom, I'm pretty sure he might have bagged a hat-trick on Sir Alex Ferguson's last game in charge against West Brom, and I think the game ended 5-5.
Yeah, I think that did happen, actually.
Alex Ferguson's last game in charge of Man United, I think Lukaku scored a hat-trick.